conversation about college football. I'd like to talk more college football with you when you come on the radio show, man, especially over the offseason.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye.
Mike Florio with us on the radio show.
What's up, buttholes?
He didn't sound thrilled about talking more college football.
Well, he's got the legal background, obviously, so he's a great guy to have on to talk about that stuff, like the Brandon Sorsby situation, which, again, I mean, I know you and I were talking before Mike came on about, the statement by Kirby Hocutt, and I just think, Dick, he's just playing to his audience.
Oh,
Let's come back and discuss that, though, more next on 93.3 KJR FM.
Now back to Softy and Dick on your home for the Huskies, Kraken, and the 12th man. Sports Radio 93.3 KJR FM.
You know, I had a thought, by the way.
That's scary.
Today's show brought to you by our friends at the Emerald Queen Casino. Always entertaining. Jim Jeffries going to be in town soon. Very funny guy. Jump on the web, emeraldqueen.com. Get your tickets now.
Pete Davidson's coming too, right?
Oh, I love Pete Davidson.
I want to see that.
You ever see the Dave Chappelle bit where they fired all of the minority representatives of food products around the country during COVID? They got rid of Aunt Jemima. They got rid of,
yes.
They got rid of Uncle Ben.
That's funny.
They got rid of Count Chocula, right?
Yes,
I mean, it was the Allstate guy.
Hilarious.
It was freaking awesome. Dave Chappelle and Pete Davidson played Count Chocula. It was
I do remember that.
very, very funny. So check that out. But anyway, I had a thought that just ran through my head during the break there. And I don't know if you guys share the same take I do. You probably don't. But college football and college athletics, and I wonder if other people feel the same way that I do, it's just making me tired. You know, I'm just getting tired. The whole thing is tiresome. Like all of it, right? Like back in the day, you get a high school guy. You know, we got a big commitment yesterday from a wide receiver at Washington, right? Is that correct?
Got an edge rusher from Jersey, too.
Got an edge rusher, got a wide out, you know, whatever. And you want to say, hey, this is going to be great. 4 years of this guy, man, by the time. Okay, have no idea on that. No idea if he'll even be here, by the way, on signing day. Okay, so he committed. But now you got to, and that's always kind of been the case with guys that obviously verbally commit. But it's just making me tired, man. All of this stuff, the rules changing by the day. Nobody has any idea what the hell's going on. The NCAA, like typically when you hear the words lack of institutional control, that means the institution as in the university.
School, yes.
A guy tweeted me today, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. He's exactly right, that all of us should agree the problem is the NCAA has no institutional control. They cannot control their own institution, which is college athletics. They have no say in the matter whatsoever. So, I mean, this is all about the courts. It's all about lawyers. It's all about alums like this Cody Campbell guy. People don't even probably know who that is. He's the big wig whale that is supposedly fronting the bill for Brandon Sorsby to go play college football at Texas Tech. And he may have spent a few dollars on the softball team as well, because they spent a lot of money on their softball team at Texas Tech. And he's coming out saying that, well, you know, nobody had a problem with Penn State. Nobody had a problem with guys that were, you know, beating their girlfriends or smacking their wives around, or, you know, Bobby Petrino having an affair and getting drunk on a motorcycle, blah, blah, blah. And my response is, because that only affects the individual. Right? Obviously, it doesn't look good for the university. It doesn't reflect well on the university. But that is a situation that impacts the individual, the victims involved, clearly, in those situations. That doesn't tug at the integrity of a 3-hour college football game when the game kicks off at 12:30 on a Saturday afternoon that everybody watching knows the game is on the up and up. I don't know if it was you or Jackson or somebody else, it may have been me, on the radio show that said every time this guy throws a pick, people are going to be wondering what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Every time he goes down to avoid a hit, every time he runs out of bounds. And do we really want that for college sports? Do we want those kinds of accusations and that kind of, I guess, snickering, right, to be going on behind the scenes? Because I don't.
I mean, I guess for me, college football's been around for 150 years, and I see this as a temporary transitional period.
Right,
like a huge transitional period, but it's a temporary transitional period. So I'm not going to worry too much. Yes, I totally get it. You're tired of it. I mean, we're all tired of it.
Doesn't it feel like that temporary transition has been around for a while now?
That's only been 5 years.
Yeah, but that's
out of 150.
But doesn't that feel like, okay, at some point we got to put an end to this?
Yes, right? And I think the end is going to come within the next 5 years. I think it'll be a 10-year transit. We're probably halfway through the transitional period.
Well, wake me up when it's over.
Well, and I think it's all going to come down probably where it should come down. What I mean by that is the teams that truly want to spend for a championship will have the ability to spend for a championship. And the teams that just want kind of old school college sports will have their opportunity to play old school college sports.
Okay.
And they'll be playing for separate championships because, in my opinion, there is no way that Oregon State should be playing for the same national championship as Georgia does.
And that's fine, but you haven't addressed anything regarding continuity or rules or structure.
But the rules will...
Where's the structure?
The structure is going to come on one side. The structure is going to come from Congress, and that's probably going to be on the NCAA side.
All right.
And then the structure is going to come from, like it does from the National Football League, it will come from the entity that runs the Super League. And there will be collective bargaining, and there will be salary caps, and there will be agents, and you will have a junior National Football League with those rules in place.
Well, that's the key there is getting the players to actually agree to that. And unless you're going to offer to pay everybody a ton of money, I don't know why they would ever do it. I mean, right now you're talking about, like, there's no cap on what Brandon Sorsby can make. There's no cap on what Damon Williams can make. There's a market that sets the rate for him, obviously. But I'm just concerned about Jackson, what Wilner said the other day. I don't know what the incentive is for the players unless you give them everything they're looking for, because right now they're getting everything they're looking for.
That's the problem, right? Is because right now there's what else could you give these unprofessional professional athletes that they don't have right now?
I can move around as much as I want.
And they get as much money as they want.
I can make whatever I want.
Cap.
I can bet on the game. I can do whatever I want.
All of it's there for the kids. So, like, I would love, because, Dick, you're so right. I think that 10 years from now, there will be something in place, and maybe it is involved with giving the players absolutely everything they have, plus something that we don't know that they want.
The point the point that you made, sorry to cut you off, but Dick, the point that you made about it's only 5 years out of 105, I haven't been around for those 105 years.
But your whole life, it's been pretty stable.
But Dick, that's my whole point, that all of a sudden, I mean, when did we start rooting for college football, like really understanding what the hell was going on?
80s.
When we were 10 years old, maybe? Yeah. So, 5 years of this nonsense. This isn't like a 1-year deal where all of a sudden they take the NCAA tournament and they go from 64 to 76 or whatever it is. This has been going on every single season for 5 consecutive years in a row, and it feels like it's running people off. The ratings don't reflect that for TV. I understand that. I do wonder how much of that's gambling related, how much of that is about the brand new rating system, all that stuff. But I just wonder how much of the older generation of college football fans will continue to put up with this before they just say the hell with it forever.
Oh, but the new generation,
the next generation will be fine.
Problem. No.
I'm not worried about your kids.
Right.
I'm worried about guys like us.
Well, let's just, you said, what is it? Why would the players agree to this? Well, Jackson, let's say you're a 5-star athlete. Here's your choice. Your choice is to make more money in this league, this Super League, but have to play under these rules, the collective bargaining rule and salary cap, or you can have more freedom, but you're going to make a hell of a lot less money in the NCAA, and you're going to be playing for a lesser championship in the NCAA.
Are we sure they'll be,
No, we're not. That's the problem, is that, look, I mean, obviously none of us know.
Right.
But the idea that we can just ignore or dismiss any possible scenario, I think is crazy. And that's what does it for me, that I have no idea where the hell this whole thing is going. And you want to fall in love with guys. I mean, there's more loyalty, there's more devotion, there's more structure in the National Football League than there is in college athletics right now.
But we'll have that, right? Because we'll have multi-year contracts.
I don't know. I don't know what we're doing. I have no idea. I think for any of us to sit here and act like we know where this thing is going is crazy.
I'm just trying to follow the breadcrumbs.
You're talking about what you want to see, which is what I want to see.
Yep.
But who knows where the hell that's going to go? We're going to break. A little fun with audio next on 93.3 KJR FM. I have an addiction. I bet everything I owned on the Mariners-Orioles under last night, and I lost. I can't pay my mortgage. I have an addiction. Are they supposed to say, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing here, man? Again, I'm not doubting that Brendan Sorsby has a gambling addiction. I'm not close enough to him to say if it's legitimate or not. Do I just understand that that's a potential possibility, that the guy's got a sickness and he has to call an 800 hotline? Absolutely. But there's still consequences to your actions. If there's no consequences to your actions, then what the hell's the point of changing your actions? What are we doing here, guys? Okay, fine, he has an addiction. That doesn't mean he needs to play football. Maybe his addiction is so terrible that he needs to step away from the football field and get his life back together. That's why I had a problem with the Kirby Hocutt announcement today. His statement, Dick, where he came out and said, we need to keep an eye on this guy. He needs to get treatment. Okay, you can do all those things and not have him play football. He can be a student. He can go to school. You can take care of him. You can keep an eye on him, but there's no need for him to play football at the same time.
College football is a privilege. It is not a right. It is simple as that.
Yeah.
And as long as you stay between the lines, you will retain that privilege.
Yes.
If he failed school
Right.
and was academically ineligible,
Right.
should we just say, well, that's okay. He was going through a tough time at home.
Yes. He has an addiction.
He's
Dick.
academically ineligible. Should we just say that's okay, you can play, and now not have academic eligibility rules for college
100%.
football?
There's an excuse for everything, and we're going to give you a pass. If you can prove that you've got some kind of mental illness, if you've got some issue that you're battling, no matter what you did, no matter what you do, you got a
free
DUI,
pass.
you drove through the front door of a Walgreens and you took out an entire family, well, you've got a drinking problem, but that's okay. We'll just figure it out. I mean, what in the absolute god darn hell are we doing here? This is so unbelievably pathetic by Texas Tech to make this about a guy who's got a mental illness and everything is okay because of that. The kid just gets a pass. Well, what if he was playing at Texas Tech and he was doing all this? And he was betting on Texas Tech? Would they have a problem with that then? What if he was throwing games? Would they be so understanding then?
What if he's playing for Texas A&M? How would Texas Tech feel about this?
My God, dude. Give me a break. All right, we got a break. Speaking of breaks, Petros joins next on 93.3 KJR FM.
from the Star Reynolds Sports Desk, your 93.3 KJR FM Sports Headlines.
Happy Wednesday. Here we go. Headlines right here on South Dico Jackson, brought to you by our friends at Frost Brewed Coors Light, as cold as the Rockies.
Don't stoop there.
NFL, how about this? Patrick Mahomes was a very rich man yesterday. He's an even richer man today. He now is the first NFL athlete with a deal with a valuation of over $500 million. The Chiefs have extended his contract with Kansas City through the year 2033, putting the total value of his deal over $500 million.
The Game 3 audience for the NBA Finals, nearly 24 million, making it the most watched NBA game since Michael Jordan's last Finals in 1998.
And don't forget Carolina-Vegas, 2-2. The NHL also looking at record ratings because they changed the rating system. After a 5-3 Hurricanes win last night, Game 5 tomorrow in Carolina right here on 93.3 KJR FM. Let's get to Petros Papadakis right now.
It's time for our weekly conversation with college football analyst Petros Papadakis.
Not that I'm a smart guy, I'm stupid.
Brought to you by Sweet James Accident Attorneys.
41 yards.
If you're hurt in an accident, call Sweet James right away at 800-500-5200. Sweet James will be sweet to you, but tough on insurance companies that will bully you.
Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch atah Ushalayim.
And now with Petros, here's Dave Softy Muller.
Losers.
All righty, boys and girls, here we go. Gorgeous Wednesday afternoon here in Seattle, right here on 93.3 KJR FM. A lot to get to. Larry Stone will join us, talk a little baseball, and I'm sure he'll weigh in on the Brandon Sorsby situation, a little World Cup action with Larry coming up at 5. But right now, it is our absolute pleasure to be joined by, let's face it, one of the most in-demand sports talk radio guests the industry has to offer. Every single week, producers, talents lining up, begging on their hands and knees for this man to join their radio show and increase their ratings. But we've got him every Wednesday, our friend Petros Papadakis, courtesy of... Sweet James, the dead spirit of justice. Yes, he can come through for you. If you've ever been in a car accident or a motorcycle accident, if a dog has bitten your balls, whatever it is, Sweet James knows the ancient secrets in which to exact the money you are owed from the insurance company, extract the money you are owed in an exacting way. At 809 or sweetjames.com. They're there 24/7, and you don't pay until you settle. 809 million or sweetjames.com. There's only so long that I can hold my breath for, man. I'm sorry. I was texting my sister. It's her birthday. Oh, so you weren't even paying attention. Well, I was like, how much longer can I go and finish this text? How long can he go? How long can he go? The hell is I put the phone down. Here we go. What are we paying you for God's sakes, man? Come on. I'm not sure. I need you for 20 minutes a week to focus it up. That's all we're asking for. It's a long time. Well, we got a lot to go over, pal. All right, let's do it, Doug. There is Bub. There is a lot to talk about here, Chief, on the radio program. I mean, Russell Wilson's got a new job.
Welcome to my happy place.
Doing TV.
Talked about that last week. Don't care.
I wasn't here last week. Was I here last week?
Yeah, but I talked about it on the phone last week.
Oh, I forgot about that. Maybe because the connection sucked ass.
It's not my fault. I was here ready to go. I had my whole day pointed towards making the Comrex work and being on the air.
Yeah.
And when that doesn't work out, I get in a little bit of a snood.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes me about 8-9 minutes of the interview to loosen up.
Yeah.
Now, don't start off on the wrong foot here, and I don't want to talk about Russell Wilson.
Well,
I no longer have anything interesting to say about Russell Wilson.
I'm glad that you brought that up, and it took you 8 or 9 minutes to kind of get going, because I thought the first half of last week's interview was freaking awful. Worst ever. Dog. I'm not paying you for last week, by the way.
All right, would you just come on? Don't pay me. Fine.
Oh, God. All right. Well, you want to talk about the World Cup then? You excited for the World Cup coming to L.A.? SoFi Stadium, man. Friday night. USA. Paraguay. Be there. Home of the Rams. Home of the Chargers. Natural grass, turning things over to the World Cup.
You're not able to call it SoFi until after the World Cup's over. They changed the name. You're not. It's called the LA Stadium.
I can call it whatever I want.
It's called the LA Stadium, and I think I talked about this with Dick also. So.
Oh, you did.
But they're doing a hobo sweep. So they're sweeping up the hobos, but we still have like 3 gigantic zombie death towers, like the Carter in New Jack City, that loom over crypto. And obviously, we're having some issues with the mayoral race.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing Iran, Paraguay. It's certainly going to be a spectacle, and they're going to milk everybody for every dollar in their pocket. It's like $350 to park on site.
Wow.
It's $200 to park a mile away, $150 to park 5 miles away. And they're really trying to encourage people to take the metro, where you're very likely to die just from like huffing somebody else's fentanyl cloud. So
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that.
It's not funny.
It's
about as funny as your mayor's deformed forehead. Not funny.
What did you call her last week?
Fetus face?
Fetus face. I'm sorry. I can't.
And you didn't want to pay me.
I'll give you half. I'll give you half, all right? Well,
Jalen Brunson fetus face.
What's with this hobo sweep? Like they're going to go in with like a bunch of...
They move them somewhere else. They did it in Long Beach the other day. They push all the hobos from one side of Long Beach to the other. It's kind of like just like, tilting the Monopoly board.
Right.
But there's a lot of hobos here, and most of them aren't from here. They're just hoboed out. They bring them in.
Well, if you're homeless,
and then they use them against the real residents of the city.
Yeah, if you're homeless and you're looking for a place just to pop a squat, I mean, SoCal is as good a place as any. Nice
Skid Row.
Nice weather.
Skid Row is not an easy place in Los Angeles.
No, it's not easy anywhere.
It beats Capitol Hill or whatever your punk-ass Skid Row is.
Yeah, well.
Your Skid Row's got nothing on our Skid Row. If there was like a hobo battle, like Beat It, the video with Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
You guys would be pushed into the South.
Really? All right.
If it was a home game,
you know what?
Be pushed into the South.
I'll put
like the logs of old time. You'd be pushed into.
I'll put our hobos up against your hobos in the all hobo.
Your hobos, they would run to that big totem pole and hide underground.
The Hobo Olympics.
Our hobos. The Hobo Olympics. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
The Hobo Olympics, baby. I'm in. Let's make it happen. These people need something to do. God, dude.
I would totally be into that.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyway, that's what's happening here, the World Cup and the fleecing of America.
Yeah. But you're not, are you doing your show there on Friday from SoFi?
But we're going to carry the game. It's LA Stadium.
Sorry.
And we're going to carry the game on the station. I think we're carrying some of
Are they making you change the name of SoFi Stadium on the air down there, by the way?
No, but we're supposed to say Uniqlo Field at Dodger Stadium, and I don't say that much.
The hell is a Uniqlo?
Uniqlo is like the #1 clothing brand in the world. It's like Japanese clothing.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's like this big online thing. There's a Uniqlo here at the Del Amo Mall in Torrance, near where I live. Torrance has a gigantic Japanese community. They also have a Roki Sasaki, Shohei Ohtani, and Yoshi Yamamoto mural on the Doubletree Hotel in Torrance.
Right. Well, I know those guys. What's the name of the mall again? The Dalai Lama Mall?
The Del Amo Mall.
Del Amo Mall.
It used to be the biggest mall in the world. Didn't you ever see Jackie Brown?
Yeah, no, I know the mall.
That's the Del Amo Mall, you stupid ass.
What the hell is a Del Amo?
Just stay. Del Amo is it's an old-timey name in Southern California.
Okay. Then I just what you said?
There's all kinds of Del Amo boulevards and Del Amo this and Del Amo that.
You were asking me a question.
Didn't you see Jackie Brown?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Didn't you stay by the Del Amo Mall in Torrance when you guys played in the sorry-ass L.A. Bowl last year?
I don't know. It's so friggin' smoggy. I couldn't see 5 feet in front of my face. God, you go down there and you're lucky not to get lung cancer just stepping off the plane.
Kick your hobo's ass.
Oh, because you guys are so tough. Our people walk around with needles hanging out of their face.
We have that too.
Okay. Well, World Cup starts Friday. We're going to carry.
Yeah, okay. There's your analysis.
Just hang on. We're going to carry the game as well on our radio station. We got the game at 5:30, and then we got the our first game.
Our coverage is going to kick your coverage's ass.
Yeah, well, that's fine. You can. You know what? If that's what you're looking for, you can go ahead and take that championship belt.
Lose.
Our first game. When's our first game? We got Belgium, Egypt on Monday. And then we got the USA, Australia next Friday at 12 o'clock. And they're shutting down all of First Avenue like for 4 blocks for like, actually more than that, for like 4 hours before the game, during the game, after the game. So they're telling everybody, like you said down there, if you want to go to the game, you got to ride the light rail or a bus.
Yeah, and then there's all kinds of like fan station, fan watch, big TV stations. And there is a thing, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you. I mean, when Croatia has made the World Cup final or gone very far a couple times in the last decade or so, there's a huge Croatian population in San Pedro, California, which is where my family's from. And they actually would shut down the whole street, 9th Street in San Pedro, and get a big screen. And you stand there with all the sausage head Croatians, and they have the red and white checkers. And
that sounds fun, by the way.
Yeah, I had never done that. You know what I mean? Like I'd never really stood in a group of people and had a couple beers and watched a soccer game, right? And you start to kind of get the feel for it. Everybody's singing their songs, and every time the ball gets close to one goal or the other, there's so much emotion and so much shared emotion in the moment, and you're kind of standing there. So I kind of understand what people experience now that I've done that a few times. So it is pretty cool, and I hope that all of that stuff, Fan Fest and all the different things they do, all around from Mexico City to Canada are all positive, and everybody has a good time. Well, it is a good opportunity to be in the community.
How about this Brandon Sorsby story, man? I'm sure you've talked about that down there on your highly rated program.
Oh, such a big show. I talked about it this morning, too, with LeVar and Brady and Jonas. It's interesting because I feel close to the story only because I know Texas Tech.
Yeah.
And I've done a couple of Sorsby games when he was at Cincinnati.
Is he worth all this hubbub?
I don't know. I wouldn't say, if you told me that when I was doing those games, I'd be like, I don't know. Maybe more so last year than the year before. I thought he was good.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say he's one of the better quarterbacks that I've seen in the last few years, but I don't really see that many good quarterbacks. I see some good guys, but not that many.
The games that you get assigned usually suck. So.
Well, yeah, I guess if that's how you want to put it. But I can see why. I like Rocco Becht a lot, and I think Sorsby was about as good as him.
Okay.
So wherever that puts him, I don't know.
But should he be playing college football?
Plenty mobile and all that. It is really interesting because. I mean, we put this guy on the cross and we're crucifying him, but there is an element to this that's true. I mean, you could be a horrible person and do a lot of horrible things, but when you're out on the football field, there's no denying what your purpose is. You're not trying to lose, or there's no doubt in anybody's mind, right? Mm-hmm. And when you're somebody who gambles on, thousands of games, that puts more than a modicum of doubt in people's minds.
Sure.
And that hurts the integrity of the sport. Now, I don't know how that word gets thrown around a lot. I'm not outraged to say this is the end of college football, like some people, but I also think that he should not be eligible.
Yeah,
I mean, based on, but you looked at the other stuff we've done to people over the years, based on what we've done to other guys. For much less, it certainly doesn't feel fair. But none of this stuff.
Sure.
Nothing through the prism of today, looking back even 10 years, seems fair at all.
Yeah.
Including, running Jim Tressel out of college football for some tattoos.
I think about Billy Joe Hobart 30-plus years ago.
Yeah.
At Washington. How about Todd Gurley 10 years ago at Georgia? Got 4 games for selling his autograph.
Yeah, and Rick Neuheisel
Right.
for filling out of.
Yeah.
It was also because he did the interview with the Niners.
Yeah, there was more than that to it. You're right, but here's the thing, because people have brought that up though, Petros. That what about all these guys that get in trouble for fighting and domestic violence? And I mean, look, that's terrible, but that's about the individual. What this guy did is about impacting everybody in the entire sport.
There's a reason that when I was coming up, we talked about gambling as a radioactive thing. When I first learned to broadcast, it was something that only Al Michaels would mention, and even in that regard, opaquely, when he did. That field goal means something to somebody, like stuff like that. There's a reason. But now that we've blurred that line and made it so accessible to everybody to where you could just pick up your phone and satisfy your compulsion, then, should we be a little bit more understanding?
No.
Yeah,
you got to be a moron to connect those dots.
I agree with you, but these are the arguments they're going to make. Also, I don't understand how the law works. Not that I ever really did from watching, divorce court when we were kids. But I don't just in politics, like they'll be like, oh, they blocked Trump. This judge blocked Trump. And then you look and you say, oh, wow, okay. And then 3 days later, it'll be like, another judge said it was okay for Trump. And you're like, oh, okay. That's been the last 3 years.
Right.
So I don't know what the end-all, be-all is, or as LeBron James would say, the A-all, be-all. I don't know. I don't know what that is for this guy. I don't know if now he gets to play or what that all means. I think everybody acting like we're not going to play them now is that they're not going to forfeit their game against Texas Tech. That's ridiculous as well. But it's a mess. College football is a mess, and this is the story of the offseason. I guess I agree that he shouldn't be playing.
Right.
But I'm also not I'm not going to grab a pitchfork and storm the castle over this.
By the way,
it's not a USC Notre Dame issue.
No, that's much bigger than this, for sure. Yes. I think we all agree on that. Petros with us, courtesy of SweetJames.com. Speaking of LeBron, and you called this a couple years ago, LeBron has a unbelievable ability to make everything about him. And I don't know if I blame him for this one. Time Magazine, you saw, has LeBron on the cover. Did you see that? And
of course, and it's timed for right there, and his people set it up. And
really?
It's to get everybody talking about it.
You think he wanted that? You think he said release it during the NBA Finals?
I think it's all part of the deal.
Okay.
The release, the cover, all of it.
Yeah. Well, there's a quote from him. He was asked who the GOAT was. And in his defense, he said, I'm not taking anybody over me, which is the quote going around social media today. But in his defense, he did say, I think Mike and Kobe and Magic and Larry and Wilt and Kareem would all say the same thing. But the money shot, the money quote, you're going to love this. Quote, if there's a GM and he's eyeballing all of us on the baseline with the number one pick, it's going to be hard not to take me, champ, said LeBron James.
God, what a douche. I mean, even if you like, he's like a hot girl. He's like a really hot girl that you really want to convince yourself doesn't suck as a person.
Right.
That you're dating. I've had a few of those. Like, God, this girl should. Like I've had a girl every once in a while, like you would walk into a restaurant with her and some guy would drop his fork, and be like, why is she with this troglodyte of a man?
It just sucks that she's such an ice queen, right?
Saying to the guy, this chick sucks so bad, you can't even imagine how much this chick sucks. And it's like every time, oh, okay, well, that was cool. We kind of had that was, that was a relatively intelligent thing to say. They always find a way to upset you and to reprove what a douche he is. That's LeBron, and it's just, it's all timed, it's all calculated.
It's all part of the plan.
It's all part of the master plan, showing everybody what a huge douche you are forever.
All right, well, maybe that's it. Maybe he wants to convince people he's the biggest douche in the world.
I think he's just gone so far with the manipulation that now they're not even punching upward or down. They don't even know.
Right.
They're just shadowboxing everybody.
All right, well, enjoy the World Cup starting Friday. Hey,
I can't wait to talk next week.
How come they're not using the Rose Bowl for the World Cup?
Because they're stupid and everybody sucks.
Okay, that makes sense.
They want to sell sweets to corporations.
There you go.
And fleece people, and they don't really care if it's actually a cool-looking event.
I understand that.
I mean, Europe's jaw would drop if we filled the Rose Bowl into one of those World Cup games. It would be awesome, right? Like it did with Brandy Chastain and all that.
That's where that game was, right?
But what about the sweets? What about our friends at Capital One? What's in your wallet?
That's why they do that, because of exactly what you just said.
I hate everybody.
You just gave him free pub.
Everything's the worst.
For God's sakes. All right, you're the man. Great stuff. Love you, and we'll talk in a week, man.
All right.
See ya. Petros Papadakis with us. We're going to break. Larry Stone joins at 5 on 93.3 KJR FM. All right, bud. See ya.
How was that?
That was great. Hi, boys and girls. It's Sathya back here again from my friends at Duke's Seafood Restaurants, where they believe that every guest deserves to feel special, not just welcome, but genuinely cared for. Every interaction is an opportunity to make someone's day better than it was when they walked in. That's why people keep coming back to Duke's Seafood Restaurants. And by the way, you may have noticed the weather is getting unbelievable. We're talking 80s, man. That's why you got to jump on the web and find a Duke's Seafood Restaurant near you and check out the decks from Ruston to Green Lake to South Lake Union. Duke's has been voted best decks in the Puget Sound area many times over. Grab a table on a Duke's deck today and get a reservation at dukeseafood.com.
Now back to Softy and Dick on your home for the Huskies, Kraken, and the 12th man. Sports Radio 93.3 KJR FM.
All right, Larry Stone will join us at 5 o'clock tonight. We'll talk some Mariners with Larry. Get Larry's thoughts on the Brendan Sorsby situation. The World Cup coming to town. First game is on Monday. Is that right, Jackson, here in Seattle? Belgium, Egypt at noon. USA, Australia, Friday at 12 o'clock. I saw where the entire station's going to be at Jimmy's on First next Friday, starting at 6 a.m. That should be a fun day. It's not just the USA versus Australia match. It's also Mariners Red Sox that night. How many people, raise your hand, doing the double dip next Friday for the USA, Australia, and the Red Sox Mariners game?
I would like to.
Okay.
I just have to procure the tickets.
You got it. Well, I got your tickets.
You got my tickets for the Mariners.
Yeah, it's no problem.
I'm being teased.
Oh, you mean tickets for the soccer game?
Well, I'm being teased by my brother. He was like, I got tickets for the game. I was like, okay.
Listen,
well,
you tell
cool.
that skinny son of a bitch to stop teasing
me?
you. All right?
And he was like, well, I'll see if my wife wants to go. I mean, I get it. I mean, she takes priority over me, of course. But
his wife you're talking about?
Yes.
No, his wife's not as big a star as you are. His wife may be
sure she is. She's a King County Councilwoman.
Yeah, but nobody, come on, you're Dick Fane. I mean, what are you doing here? You're 1/3 of the Softy, Dick, and Jackson extravaganza.
And as a King County Councilwoman, she should probably be able to get her own tickets, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm the only one in the Fane family schlepping for tickets now.
Nothing screams politicians getting free tickets.
I was going to say.
Like the World Cup. Are you kidding me? What day is that? Is that June 19th? Is that correct?
Yes, June 19th.
I do not have my Mariners tickets. I already gave them away.
Damn it.
So sorry, pal.
Right.
But I do know people. We can take care of it.
All right.
I think that'll be the least of your concerns. Actually, it's funny. I want to talk about that in a second because I put a poll out a couple days ago that we have not yet responded to, asking people, how much interest they have in the World Cup and are they going to a match? And there might be reasons why they are or are not going. So we'll get to that in a second. I feel like we haven't had an update on the poll. In a while, right? Yeah, we got to get to that. But tonight, game number 4, the pivotal game 4 of the Knicks and the Spurs. Ticket prices not nearly as expensive as they were for game 3. Apparently, there was going to be a 1,000-person watch party outside Madison Square Garden that has now been canceled, and I don't know the exact reason why. I think you may have seen on social media the last couple of nights a lot of video of New York Knicks fans beating the piss out of Spurs fans outside of Madison Square Garden. So the bad apples in the bunch ruined it for everybody. So apparently they're kind of shutting things down. They're not letting you gather. Do you know offhand, Jackson, for the World Cup games at Seattle Stadium?
There you go.
Nice job.
Get used to that.
Starting on Monday,
Yep.
are they going to allow people to gather like on Occidental? Because you know how some of the vendors, the hot dog vendors, have TVs underneath their tents out there?
Yep.
Like, how often have you left the Seahawks game to go over to Jimmy's and you stop and you watch a TV
Absolutely.
for a quick
All
second
the time.
before you get into Jimmy's? So are we going to be able to go down there and gather? I know they're doing official parties, all that stuff, like watch parties, and there's going to be designated areas, but are they going to allow people to do that outside the stadium?
Yeah, so this morning I actually spent a couple hours touring all of Lumen Field.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah, and
cool.
and out there in the North Plaza, there's a lot of screens. There's a huge Fox set right outside of where the turnstiles, I think, will be, and those have giant TVs on the sides of it.
Right.
I think that there's going to be massive watching areas with large TVs and screens right outside that area.
Okay.
In the North
That would be
Plaza.
cool.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's happened before. Like when Taylor Swift was here,
Yep.
there were thousands of
Right.
Swifties in the North parking lot.
Right.
Thousands.
Right.
And so I just took my daughter there and hung out and partied with the Swifties for free instead of paying
Brilliant.
$700 a ticket.
Sorry, honey, this is as good as it's going to get.
That's right, but she had a good time.
Ratings are down. We're just going to hang out here, man.
That's
but
right.
Before the game tonight, and we'll do the World Cup stuff in the 5 o'clock hour. Can I say World Cup on the air,
Yes.
or do I get approached by like
But- See, that's the thing. We can say
FIFA goon?
No, we can say World Cup, World Cup, World Cup. But Anders tonight at 7 p.m. is hosting the World Championship Soccer Daily Recap Show
boy.
because it's sponsored by Liuna.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to have some
There's
European
guys
show
in
up at the front door.
suits, suits and sunglasses right outside. right now, Dave. I think they're ready to take you away.
We hear you say World Cup.
And Anders is not hosting the World Cup show. He's hosting the World Championship Soccer recap
One more
show.
time and we smash faces.
That's right. Jackson, you mentioned
Infantino's here ready to kill us.
You mentioned on Ian's show today. I thought that was kind of like I was taken aback because
I
you
guess
said
we are doing the World Cup stuff here. We're not going to get to NBA.
Yeah, we got to get to this NBA stuff.
I'm just going to ask you a quick question.
Notice 2 seconds ago how I tried to move on, by the way?
We're too deep.
We got to
in the
play
World
this
Cup.
clip
Later,
Yeah, that's fine.
5:30.
You said that the field looks closer. You can actually notice that the field is raised, even though it was like 18 inches.
It's 14 inches. It's wild. I tell you what, you wouldn't think that you would, but if you stand on the side of the field next to the stands, you know how you guys have stood on the field before. You look very much up towards the first row of seats.
Right.
Now you look straight at the first row of seats.
Bananas.
And the weirdest part about this is is that the tunnel where the opposing team in football games comes from, they're in the southeast corner.
Right.
So they have that little overhang, right?
Yeah.
And if you are walking down the ramp from the locker room to the field, that overhang now is like 6.5 feet up.
Interesting.
If you're a tall person or a tall player, you're going to have to duck walking to the field.
Wemby would have no shot.
None.
All right. Well, I'm glad that we got that out there. So now we can move on. But I do want to do a segment later today on the interest in town and why people would be going or not going. Is it all about match price money? Is it all about tickets? Is it all about how much it costs to get in? Or are there other reasons why people may not be going down there? So we'll get to that coming up. But I do want to play this clip before the game tonight because I think the NBA officials, do we know, is it the same guys that officiated Game 3 that are doing Game 4?
I don't believe they usually rotate.
They got to be on high alert.
Yes.
Because I remember watching Game 3 thinking to myself, man, they're letting these guys play. I don't know if they can do that tonight because I believe that we are on the verge. One spark and you could have a powder keg go off at the game. I'm talking bench clearing brawl, especially after what Wemby did to Jalen Brunson, which they did not rule, by the way, a flagrant foul. Correct. I thought that was crazy to not rule that a flagrant foul. But Charles Barkley was on the Dan Patrick show, I believe, today and had this to say about what he thinks the Knicks' plan should be against Wembanyama tonight.
First of all, the Knicks should stop whining. What the Knicks should do is knock the hell out of Victor Wembanyama at some point, because them two things they did to Jalen Brunson, I didn't like it. I loved it. This is a competition, but you can't let them manhandle your best player. You got to knock the hell out of Victor. Says if you hit Jalen, they hit him twice unnecessarily. I'm surprised the Knicks haven't retaliated. They got to do that. Early in the game, I knocked the hell out of Victor.
Okay, first of all, I love the fact that he called him Wembanyama, by the way, which is awesome. Only Barkley could get away with that. And then second of all, he's exactly right. I think the Knicks are going to be pissed. I think what Mad Dog Russo said today, Dick, on ESPN is exactly correct. They're going to come after him, especially after not getting the flagrant foul, after what he did to Jalen Brunson in game number 3. And I think it might even happen early in the game, like the first couple minutes of the first quarter.
I agree with you. I think also that if Jalen Brunson retaliates a little bit, maybe just enough to get a technical foul on that play where he got his head shoved down into the dirt.
Right.
They would have gone back and reviewed. They would have given Jalen Brunson a technical, but I think on the spot, they might have given Wemby a flagrant foul there.
Right.
And so Jalen Brunson almost did himself a disservice by not selling it a little bit more and going back at Wembanyama, so at least they could have gotten the video review there.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, it's going to be a crazy atmosphere on the court tonight, man. This is going to be a bloodbath in game number 4.
Only one official, the crew chief from game 3 is the replay official for this one, but he is not on the court.
So it's a brand new threesome on the court. Got it. Okay.
Yep.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that tonight for sure. And then game number 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals tomorrow, Carolina and Vegas. I threw this out on social media last night, and maybe partly in jest, but I do kind of mean it, that I don't know if there's been a better first 7 games combined of the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals together. Every game that we've seen through the first 7 combined, 4 in hockey, 3 in basketball, has been unbelievable, right? And the ratings are showing it. And I realize that, again, they're doing a different thing with the ratings now, so everybody's claiming we have the best ratings since blah, blah, blah.
But there's a reason
There's reasons why the ratings are up, and it's because the games in the NHL have been phenomenal, and because you've got New York and you've got Victor Wembanyama, as Barkley calls him, and it's been amazing drama. So, kudos to those leagues because these series have been must-watch TV, no doubt. And if you're in the car tomorrow, we got Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals at 5:30. All right, we're going to break. Text testimonials 49451. Larry Stone will join us at 5, courtesy of the Ram on 93.3 KJR FM. which, by the way, they need a grand poobah. Whoever that guy is, I'm like, I'd rather have you be annoyed and pissed and pay attention than not and be apathetic.
There are things that annoy me about every sport, but I'm not going to take my ball and go home and not watch sports anymore.
Good for you. And I would also say you've chosen to evolve, is what you said. And the first thing I thought of is, you ever see Kevin Costner in Waterworld, by the way?
Terrible movie.
When he developed
Freaking
those
terrible.
gills behind his ears.
So just
Are you going to wake up one day with a football for a head?
Yes, I will.
Because you've evolved with college football.
evolved.
There's an evolution. What the hell happened to Fane? He's a freak. Look at him. Well, it's called evolution. All right, what's next?
So, Brandon Sorsby has a gambling addiction, and they are going to give him $5 million?
What a hell of an
I saw
idea.
that text, by the way, come in today, and damn it, if I knew you were playing that, I would have been ready for it. A little delayed rim shot.
I was going to play it.
It's
You
an
told me to play it.
it's an amazing text. Because it's so money. It's like, what? You're a diabetic? Here's a donut. I mean, it's like, really?
Yep.
We're going to give this guy $5 million. How much money do you think he had in his pocket when he was at Indiana? Now, I have no idea about his family's financial situation.
Well, he got NIL from Indiana.
Not this kind of money. Not 4 years ago. No
But he was a
way.
high recruit. He probably got $1 million.
$5 million? I think he should open a gambling hotline. I think he should just embrace it. Just like the Mariners should embrace the 54%, he should embrace this.
Gambling podcast.
If his NFL career doesn't work out, start a hotline. Why not? What the hell, man? Like Tim Donaghy. Didn't he do something like that?
Yeah, he did something.
Right?
I'm trying to remember.
Come
what he
on,
got
kid. Be
into.
smart. Embrace it. Strike while the iron's hot. It's like the Hawk Tua girl. What happened to her? She had an opportunity and she blew it, man.
She went into crypto, right?
That's right. What's next?
This is what people are missing about Sorsby. There is no way that playing major college football is helping his mental health, especially if it's already this fragile.
Well, he's got to be under some pressure now to perform a little bit, right? I don't know what his mental makeup is. I have no idea when it comes to stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, that's why I asked Petros, because he covered a couple of games that Sorsby played in. Is this guy really worth all this, man? Is he worth the reputation? Is he worth all the hubbub going on? Maybe he is. Maybe he is.
He's supposed to be a top 5 guy in the draft, but we're going to find out. And he is going to have to play. He is going to have the most pressure on him than any quarterback in college football. I would have said Arch Manning by far would have the most pressure just because of the expectations he has. But now it's going to be Sorsby, because every single stadium he goes into, he's going to get booed.
Well, he will. And if it doesn't work out, I think people are going to revel in that.
Absolutely.
Right? Like they're reveling in some ways in the failures of a guy like Shedeur Sanders, who's very cocky. If Brandon Sorsby doesn't work out, I think a lot of people will look at that and they will actually enjoy his downfall. All right, what's next?
So if college sports is becoming professional, then how does this affect the NFL draft?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, if you want to play in the highest league possible, you got to go through the draft process.
Yeah.
I mean, that shouldn't change at all.
No,
Do you
I mean,
think it'll change?
they're just going to be making more money. There will be a lot more people that decide to stay in school longer, because the money in college is exponentially rising more so than it is the NFL.
Okay, I got a great idea. Whenever Jackson wants to talk on the air and have a point, I think we play this.
And by the way, when you're telling these little stories, here's a good idea. Have a point.
Or just do the Florio.
Or I mean, Dick, you'll go along with me here.
Oh, God.
Is that if it'd be great if we had the time to actually get to our
Yes,
points.
which is why I said let's do this at 5:30. I want to give you a chance to spread your wings, young man, and talk about World Championship soccer from Seattle Stadium.
Dick, do you want to talk for 8 seconds before we have to go to break?
No, we're done.
I'm out.
I'm cutting you both off. We're going to break. Larry Stone, we'll give him as much time as he needs. Next on 93.3 KJR FM.
This is Duke of Duke Seafood, letting you know that this hour of Softy and Dick on your home for the Huskies and Kraken is proudly brought to you by Duke Seafood. Why not make it a Duke's night tonight? Reserve your table today at dukeseafood.com on Sports Radio 93.3 KJR FM.
All right, by the way, it's time for the USA 250 cash contest for a shot of $2,500 from June 1st until July 3rd. I guess at this point, I can just say from now until July 3rd, right? Listen each weekday at 8 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. on our show for the nationwide keyword to enter on the website, 93.3KJR.com for a crock at $25. That code word right now is America. America at 93.3KJR.com.
Now, from the Star Reynolds Sports Desk, your 93.3 KJR FM sports headlines.
All right, here we go. Headlines right here on Softy Dick with Jackson, brought to you by our friends at Frost Brewed Coors Light, as cold as the Rockies.
I don't listen to you often because you're not interesting.
NBA Finals Game 4 tonight. The Knicks look to go up 3-1 on the San Antonio Spurs at the Garden in Manhattan, 5:30 p.m. from New York City. San Antonio looking to even things up. The NHL Stanley Cup Finals tomorrow, by the way. Game 5, Carolina-Vegas, tied at 2. Have that game for you right here on KJR FM.
Seahawks have announced that training camp will begin July 25th in Renton. Fans can register on the team's website and see JSN, the 4th most sold jersey in the league this past season, trailing Josh Allen, Drake May, and Saquon Barkley.
Drake May. God, why would you want a Drake May jersey? If you're a Patriot fan, I get it, but really? Game 1, by the way, of the World Cup is tomorrow. Mexico versus South Africa in Mexico City at 12 p.m. We got USA versus Paraguay at 6 p.m. on Friday right here on FM from SoFi Stadium. Actually, it's called like LA Field or whatever. First game in Seattle, by the way, is going to be Belgium and Egypt on Monday at 12 o'clock.
Chiefs adding 2 years to Patrick Mahomes' contract through 2033. It's now worth $504 million. It's the first $500 million deal in NFL history.
And the Eagles making a move today, signing former Bills defensive end A.J. Epinesa to a 1-year contract. Let's get to Larry Stone right now.
It's time for our weekly conversation with legendary sports writer Larry Stone. Brought to you by the Ram Restaurant and Brewery. Bigger, better, and fresher since 1971. With 8 Puget Sound locations from Marysville to Lacey and everywhere in between. There's a Ram near you. Now with Softy and Dick, here's Larry Stone.
All right, big thanks to our friends at the Ram for sponsoring this little shindig every Wednesday at 5 o'clock with our friend Larry Stone. I know Larry is probably sitting home getting his face all painted up for the World Cup next Friday. Going to drape himself in the American flag, paint his face red, white, and blue, get those star glasses, all that stuff. Get his USA yarmulke ready for the game next Friday. USA, Australia. Larry Stone joins us right now, courtesy of the Ram. How are you, man?
I'm good. How did you know? How did you know all that? You nailed it.
Yeah, I just know that you're a big soccer guy at heart. You love football. It's the world's game. You've always been a big believer. I mean, honestly, are you fired up? Are you interested? What's your level of kind of buy-in for the World Cup starting Monday with Belgium and Egypt?
Well, I'm not at Jackson Phelps or Anders Hurst level of excitement.
Thank God.
They probably are of painting their faces. But, I've been kind of blasé towards it. But as it approaches, I'm getting a little excitement. It's just such a spectacle, and to have it in our own backyard. And I'm not going to go to any games because I think it's not only too expensive, but too much of a hassle for me. But I will watch as much as I can, and I think I'll get caught up in it as it works towards the finish.
I remember the last time the World Cup was in the U.S., everybody said, oh, this is what's going to put U.S. soccer on the map. This is what's going to have all the kids playing soccer instead of basketball and baseball and football.
Before you continue, it created the Major League Soccer League.
Okay, I mean, but again, the soccer with youth in America is really...
It grew massively with 94 World Cup. Massively.
Are they more competitive now than they were then?
Yes.
You guys know we have a guest on right now.
Thanks, Jack.
Dick's asking the wrong question.
I'm asking Larry. I'm asking Larry if.
Hello.
Is this going to be the boon where American kids are now the best American athletes are going to play soccer instead of basketball and baseball like people said 30 years ago they were going to, and they didn't.
Well, I'm old enough, Dick, to remember this prediction long before 30 years ago that soccer was going to be the next big thing, and it just never quite happens. I think what would put it over the top would be a surprise run by the U.S. into maybe the quarterfinals. I think everyone would get caught up in that, but these booms that are predicted rarely come to fruition. I think people get excited and caught up in the moment, but I don't think that for the most part in all sports it's sustained. Jackson's right that it certainly helped popularize soccer, but I don't think it's going to be to the point where the best athletes are turning to soccer. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, they need to make a run. I think Dick's right that if we're going to get this thing really to fire off on all cylinders, the Americans need to make a run. We're talking like a Final Four championship match appearance, which, look, I mean, I just don't know if that's ever going to happen in this country. Obviously, crazy things can happen, but Larry, you mentioned it right there in the open, and I'm this is kind of why I wanted to save this conversation with these guys for 5:30, because I want to know why people aren't going. And I can just speak for myself that, if the World Cup was across the street, I'd probably walk over and go to a game. I mean, tickets are expensive for sure. But for me, it's just the hassle of the whole thing. I don't want to take public transit. I don't want to take the light rail. I want to have my car. I don't want to wait in line for an hour to get into a stadium or an hour to jump on a light rail train to go back to my house. So for me, I'm just turning into a crotchety old man, and I just don't want to deal with it. It's a pain in the ass for me.
Are we talking to the same guy who once flew to where did you fly? Qatar?
South Africa.
Or,
yes, that was
South Africa.
That was 16 years ago. By the way, I was not an old man then. I am now.
He was a crotchety young man then.
Yeah, dude, Larry, I was in my 20s back then. I was 27 years old. Are you kidding me? No, 37. Sorry, I was 37.
I remember listening in awe to you pulling that off and getting tickets and just flying to South Africa to watch a World Cup game.
Yeah.
And here it is in your own backyard, and it's too
right.
It's too much of a hassle.
It's called being in your 50s plus, Larry. That's what it does to you.
But it sounds like for you, that's kind of part of it for you too, right? Just the hassle of the whole thing kind of has you spooked out a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm in my 60s, and I'm even more hassle averse than you are. So,
right.
I mean, if somebody gifted me a ticket, I'd go.
Right. Yeah.
I don't even know what the ticket prices are. We heard all the scare, the talk leading up to it, how expensive it was going to be, and it seems like the demand has not been as high as they expected. So maybe the prices are going to drop to become affordable. But yeah, I mean, I'm not enough of a soccer head to fight all the crowds and all that, but I will watch it avidly.
Well, Larry, the biggest topic in sports this week has clearly come out of Lubbock, Texas. This Brendan Sorsby situation is unbelievable. Let's just give us your thoughts overall before we get into too many specifics.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm with the majority of people who think that this guy, should not be allowed to play. It's the cardinal rule in all of sports. We watch Pete Rose have his career and post-career ruined by betting on baseball. I'm sympathetic to the mental health aspect of it, but I honestly think that you might be doing him more of a favor mental health-wise by not playing to all the stress and hassle and abuse he's going to get if he does play. So, but just on the level of the NCAA, if they can't enforce this most basic rule, what can they enforce? So,
right.
I don't think he's going to end up playing. I think the pressure on Texas Tech will eventually they'll have to succumb to this. But with everybody, 99% of the NCAA against you, I don't know how they can hold out and have him play.
Right. So you think your gut, Larry, is that Texas Tech eventually makes the call, maybe from the president's office, for example, to not have this kid play? You think that's the way this goes down?
I think so, or maybe the Big 12 just bans, somehow, bans Texas Tech or comes down against them. But I think there's going to be some sort of something's going to happen where he's not going to play either one of those two things. Either Texas Tech will succumb to the pressure, or the league will forbid it, or punish them to the point where he's not going to play.
Well, and there's a lot of folks who think this might be a good development. Rick Neuheisel was on with me and Dick last night and said, look, if this pushes Congress to get involved and give the NCAA everything they've been asking the government for, then this might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Do you believe that we might look at this in a month or a year or 2 years from now as maybe a positive development?
Yeah, I mean, I can see that point of view, and Congress is already involved. With the what do they call it? The Save Sports Act,
right?
That's going through to a vote.
Yeah.
But yeah, this seems like a turning point moment. Either the NCAA loses all of its power, and it leads to the major conferences just splitting from the NCAA and saying, well, we can't count on them for anything. We'll just run our own leagues, the SEC and the Big Ten, or it leads to an overarching control of college sports, which in some ways would be a good thing, just as we look at all the problems that we all know about that's turning college sports into kind of a wild west. There's some sort of regulation that needs to be done, and maybe this will be the tipping point.
Well, do you think it's going to be a one-off situation because of all the backlash, or do you think this potentially could be a slippery slope and that some other player could maybe bet on a team he's actually playing for at the time and say, hey, well, we've got precedent here, and he goes to court and it's uphill? Do you think that could happen?
I do think it could happen, and it's going to embolden somebody to you nail the scenario, Dick. It's like, well, if he gets away with this, we now know what the defense is that works in court, and so you don't even have to worry about getting caught or anything like that, because there's a precedent, if this is allowed to stand,
right,
for no punishment. Or no substantial punishment. So, I mean, that's a clear danger as well, and I think that's as much of an issue as this one player, getting punished. I think it's the precedent that it sets and the danger that that this will become more prevalent.
Well, Larry Stone's with us. There's no danger there, by the way, with Larry, courtesy of the Ram. And Larry, how concerned should Mariner fans be about Andres Munoz? Gave it up the other night. I know he came right back out and got the deal done the next game. But how concerned should the Mariners be? How concerned should we be about what's been going on with Munoz in the first 2 months of the year?
Yeah, it's a concern. I don't know how you can not be concerned. I was looking at his stats the other day, and he had something like 26 appearances, and at the time, he had 7 clean appearances where he didn't give up a base runner.
Wow.
So at every other time, even when he got the save or got out of it, he was wiggling out of trouble. 2 runners on, a walk. It just hasn't been clean. His stuff looks fine to me. His strikeout rate is the highest of his career. So the stuff is there. It's just the command is not there. And, I waver back and forth about whether they should make a change or just let him work his way through it. You saw yesterday with Ferrer that it's not just a matter of saying, okay, it's somebody else's job. He couldn't hold a 2-run lead in the 9th inning last night. Mm-hmm. And then Brash, who would have been Brash is another candidate. He's on the IL now. So really the only other candidate besides Ferrer, who would be my choice if you were going to pull Munoz from the job, at least pull him temporarily just until he gets his command back, would be Spire. At this point, I think I'm inclined to let Munoz work his way out of it.
Larry, I know why we got to the point that we had a AAA closer last night in a major league game, but how do we get to that point? Really? We're in the 10th inning of a baseball game. You don't have any more relievers to use. It's really hard for me to wrap my brain around that concept.
Yeah. Well, one reason is because you have 6 starters, so you're one short in the bullpen. That's a factor. Your starters are going 6 innings, and so you have to use 3 or more. In most cases, closers a night, and you've had a lot of close games where you've had to empty out your bullpen, and it leads to that situation. And I guess Brash was down last night, obviously because he went on the IL today, and they don't like to push guys beyond maybe 2 days in a row, and maybe someone like Pizzardo could go 3 days in a row, but. Yeah, I think being down the one reliever is a huge factor in this.
Yeah, well, Larry Stone's with us, and Larry, selfishly, Dick and I are going to be at the Rainiers on Friday, and we're kind of hoping that Cal Raleigh is still down there, right? I know the M's have a series in Washington, guys, is that right, this weekend? So that feels, I don't know, just talk us through this. Do you see them activating him and then flying him across the country to meet the team in Washington, or do you think maybe it's more likely he stays with the Rainiers for maybe a couple of more days, maybe potentially, I don't know, through the weekend, and then we see Cal when the M's get back home on Tuesday against Baltimore? How do you think they play that?
Well, I posed that question to my former colleague and friend Adam Jude, and he thinks they're going to keep him in Tacoma. They want him to. They want him to catch 9 innings, which he hasn't done yet. So, it's still a process of working him back from this injury. And it seems that's a long way to fly for maybe one game or 2 games. Right. I think that the likelihood is that they will just wait till the team gets back next week and activate him then. I mean, if you look at what the catchers have done in his absence, I mean, you could even make the case that they've had an upgrade in offensive production since he went down, because he was, he was mired in this horrible 0 for 32 slump. He was hitting 170 for the season, and the combination of Pereira and Garver has been. They had a stat in the game today that top 5 in catcher production in all of baseball since he went down. So that to me, I mean, obviously you want a healthy Cal Raleigh. He's a difference maker, and he'll be a huge boost for this offense, but the guys have been productive enough that it's not an emergency situation where you just want to rush him back. So I think they'll just wait.
A couple days ago, Softy brought up George Kirby and if I was concerned, and I was like, I'm not really concerned. But then I kind of looked at the numbers, and his strikeout to walk ratio is worse significantly every single year over the last 4 years. His ERA is going up every year over the last 4 years. It's back up to about where it was last year now. And, what's your level of concern for him?
Today, for instance, he walked 3, which he just doesn't do, and he struck out 10. So, he was great for 5 innings, and then he faltered in the 6th inning. But that's kind of the story of his season this year, and is that he has that bad inning or that faltering inning, and I think it's safe to say that he hasn't progressed since his breakout year at the rate that I think was anticipated of him, of being a kind of I thought, and a lot of people thought, that he was on a Cy Young contending path, and he just hasn't got there. And I'm not sure why that is. Some people think that he throws too many strikes, and that his controlled people can just dig in on him. He doesn't have quite the same impeccable walk numbers this year, but it doesn't seem to have helped him that much.
Yeah, he's got a 6.6 ERA, guys, his last 5 games. And what I said to Dick last Friday, I think it was at Jimmy's or whatever it was, I said, let's just keep an eye on this, right? Yeah. This is 4 games in a row. Now it's another game where he doesn't look great. And, the thing for me that really is concerning is that unless they turn it around today, they're going to be 1-4 in his last 5 games. So they're losing games that this guy is starting, and that cannot continue to happen. All right, Larry, great stuff, man. By this time next week, we will have had a World Cup game in Seattle. Can't wait to get your breakdown Wednesday of the Belgium-Egypt match from Monday.
Break it down there. I want notes. Right? You got to take notes watching that thing.
You better pay attention, because we want your take, pal. All right?
I'm going to be doing film study all night long, just so I'll be ready.
We want to call you the human element of soccer, so be ready. All right, Larry, great stuff. We'll talk in a week, man. See you, pal.
All right.
All right, Larry Stone with us, courtesy of the Ram. We're going to break. And a couple polls out there regarding the World Cup, which starts tomorrow in Mexico City. Monday is the first match in Seattle. So let's dive into it, man. What's the buzz? Is there buzz out there in Radio Land? Next on 93.3 KJR FM.
Seafood. Why don't you make it a Duke's night tonight? Reserve your table today at dukeseafood.com. Now, back to Softy and Dick on Sports Radio 93.3 KJR FM.
All right, if you missed our award-winning conversation with Julian Love yesterday, who gave us the award? I did. I'm going to give myself awards because nobody else will, right? So I'm giving us an award for our conversation with Julian Love from yesterday's radio show from the VMAC for training camp. We'll give that to you in the 6 p.m. hour. We got a couple of polls that I want to get some thoughts on from the Peanut Gallery here. One of them...
Update on the poll.
It's kind of an obvious one. So I threw this out a couple days ago asking people if they were planning on attending a World Cup match in Seattle. And no surprise, 84% said no, 16% said yes. And you could say, well, that's of course, because first of all, there's not many seats available, number one, and the seats that are available are expensive. Like there's one game, I think the Bosnia-Qatar game, Jackson, is going for like $200 on Venue Kings to get in. That's the cheapest ticket. The Belgium-Egypt game, the cheapest ticket for Monday on Venue Kings is just over $400. The USA-Australia game has been holding steady, by the way, around $900,000 to get in the door. So we'll see what happens by match day next Friday. But I wanted to dive deeper into it. By the way, look at that. I wanted to dive deeper into it and find out why people, if they're not going to a match, why are they not going to a match?
Update on the poll.
And I threw out 3 different options for people. All right, just made it easy. Either A, it's too expensive. B, the hassle of traffic, etc., all that. Or C, just don't care. 52% say it's too expensive. 42% say they just don't care, which I was actually surprised, by the way. I think that's not a bad sign for soccer in Seattle. The fact that, hey, look, I'd like to go there, but it's too expensive, or I'd like to go there, but it's kind of a pain in the butt, right, to have to take the light rail and not get to park down there and wait in line and do this and do that. And, my wife is going to a game with her company, by the way. She's going to the Egypt-Iran game. And even she was asking me, like, should I be concerned about security and things like that? And I said, no. I think, sometimes this stuff gets overblown a little bit, but they're spending millions and millions of dollars, right, Jackson, on security for these games. So I can just speak for myself, Dick. I would like to go to a game. I think I'd like to be in the stadium and see what the World Cup in Seattle is all about. I've been lucky enough to go to a World Cup game, but I still would like to go to a game if I can get there. I got a buddy of mine who has got face value seats for the round of 32 game, which is on a Wednesday, I think. And the round of 16 game is on a Friday on July 7th, I believe it is, or July 6th. No, Monday. Sorry, it's on a Monday. And the round of 32 face value was $600. And the round of 16 face was $800. But for me, I still feel like, and I'm just speaking for myself, the hassle, not having the car, taking light rail, not being able to park down there anywhere, the traffic getting in and out, potentially with the lines waiting for the light rail and all that stuff. And you guys know me, I'm kind of a snob.
You really are.
I'm not a big public transportation guy anyway. I will admit that most of that aspect is potentially keeping me away.
Well, that's, for me, is the absolute lowest of the three, is the hassle.
Yeah.
I think that, for me, that World Cup is a novelty.
Right.
If I had gone to South Africa like you did and to watch a World Cup game, I would have zero interest whatsoever going to one in Seattle. Like, I've been to South Africa for a World Cup game. Why do I need to go to one in Seattle?
And by the way, just so you know, the South Africa trip was more about going to South Africa.
But you did it like a spur of the moment, right?
The day before.
Yeah.
The World Cup was a tool for me to have an excuse to go to South Africa, and I took advantage of it, which is really dumb in the end. I should have planned the damn thing and spent 2 weeks down there and spent half the money on a plane ticket.
Having said, though, that I went to a World Cup game would be pretty cool.
Right.
But for me, that comes at a price.
Right.
And so I'm not willing to spend a significant amount of money on a ticket for anything unless I have serious rooting interest. Like, the only time I have ever spent massive amounts of money on a sporting event are Seahawks, Mariners playoffs, and Husky national championship games. That is it.
Right.
So, I mean, I got to love the team that I'm watching to spend a significant amount of money. And so, yeah, if I can get in for $100 to $200 just to go see what it's like?
Which you might be able to, by the way.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Right.
Or if I could finally convince my brother to take me to the game, cool. I'd love to go.
So it's the price for you. The price
is number one for me. And then I just don't have a rooting interest would be number two.
All right, Jackson, so you're covering the event. You're going to be credentialed, is that right, for the World Cup on Monday?
I hope so.
Okay, that's crazy. The fact that you don't even know that yet is bananas.
Hello, FIFA.
Right. So do you get that sense that most people that say they're not going to go because the tickets are just out of their reach?
Yeah. I mean, right now, you talk about, I think you make a great point that you just don't have the rooting interest in teams, and the great teams that are coming here. I would say the good to great teams. Belgium, Egypt is right now the group stage, the top game, right? 2 top 20-25 teams in the world playing. That's $400 right now. And I think for even soccer hardcores, $400 for teams that I'm not that passionate about.
Right.
That's a tough sell.
Sure.
So yeah, I think Dick, you're so right. If they were $100, 70,000 people in that building would be a shoo-in.
Right.
You think it might not be sold out?
I think it might not be. I think the interesting question
they were all
is,
sold out already.
Well, I mean, secondary market, we know, like, what is it going to, but hold on, my point is it going to look like 60,000?
Sure.
Or is it going to end up looking like the full 70?
But I can't go online. Like, where do these tickets come from originally? FIFA's website?
Yeah.
So I can't go online to FIFA.com and buy seats for Monday's match. Is that correct?
So. And yet still there's a ticket window at Lumen Field. So
you can go down there.
And I think there are probably situations for like the lower level games, right? They're probably very much still available. Belgium, Egypt, US, Australia, I doubt you could get tickets at the box office day of for those two games. Those are you're looking at secondary market, but those are the games that people want to go to, and they're just right now too expensive for the average Joe Dick Fane in Seattle.
Right. Well, I'm on. Okay, this is amazing. I just went to FIFA's website, and there is a link on there. Last-minute sales. Secure your FIFA World Cup 2026 tickets today, subject to availability. Okay, I'll click on that. That goes to a page that says access is restricted on FIFA's own website.
I think that's here, actually.
Is that an iHeart thing?
Yeah, I think that's here.
They're not letting me go on FIFA's website?
If you're getting access restricted, I think that's in your network.
Let's click on the resale exchange website. That is also restricted. Somebody go on FIFA.com, please, and tell me if you can buy seats. Tell me if you can buy seats. Why would that be restricted? Restricted? That's why.
I don't know.
For the same reason we can't gamble at the Rainiers games, remember?
But I'm not placing bets on FIFA's website.
So I'm right now on data on my phone, so that we're not limited by the network here.
Yes.
Let me see what I can do.
I want to see if you can click on and buy seats, because I get the feeling that the games will look sold out, or will be sold out. I don't know if they'll look sold out because I don't know if those tickets will get resold.
But won't there be a price point for people like me that, like, there's probably a ton of people like me that would go to the game if they got down to $75 or something like that.
On the secondary market.
On the secondary market.
Right.
They should be able to fill all the seats with people like me.
But you have to be willing to wait till the last second to do it. A lot of people aren't willing to do that, especially, Dick, if you're not driving your car, right? Yeah. Like, I've got to be willing to wait until the last second to buy seats. So there might even be some unused tickets that get purchased through FIFA that just end up rotting on VenueKings.com or StubHub.
I think
that happens, by the way.
What I would do and what I would recommend, if people are in a boat like me, that they'd like to go to the game, but they're waiting for the right price point, I would just say, hey, go down, make an afternoon of it.
Right.
Go down, look around, see what you can get. If you don't find the price point that you want, then just go to a bar, watch it on TV, and experience just being down there during a World Cup game.
Yeah, I remember talking to Anthony Beiruti. I think it was during the Mariners-Blue Jays Game 5 or one of the Mariners-Tigers games where the ticket prices in the market was so crazy that it just drove everybody away. And by first pitch, he ended up losing money. Like, he had 300 pairs of tickets that went unsold on his website, and nobody ended up buying them, right? I mean, they dropped during the game, but by the time of the game, you're home, you're set, you're done. You've got your favorite chair and your cocktail in your hand. You're finished. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious to see what the atmosphere feels like and looks like. I do think that even if you don't go to a match, flipping on a TV and seeing Seattle Stadium on international TV. You know, they pulled down all of the advertising in the stadium, but they left up the Seahawks Super Bowl banners.
That's cool.
And retired numbers. Well, so you might see that on national and international TV.
Danny Jackson was on with Jackson today, and he said that the average World Cup audience on TV is 250 million people.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So think about that for a second.
Cool. Very
for
cool.
a game at Lumen Field, there's going to be 2 times more people watching that game on television than watch the Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. No, it's cool. I mean, it's good to have us in the spotlight, but I think a lot of people like me might just be more comfortable sitting their ass on their couch. We'll get a break. Julian Love, by the way, coming up in the 6 p.m. hour on 93.3 KJR FM. Love joined us yesterday on the program. We're going to hear from him coming up about 6:05, 6:10 tonight on the program, and hear from the free safety of your Seattle Seahawks. Rings are coming soon for the Hawks, by the way. I'm sure we'll see a bunch of video and photos on social media regarding that. You know, we asked him about playing the Patriots in the opener, and he was cool with it, man. So I think there's a part of the Seahawk players and the Seahawk roster, the guys that are back on this football team, that want to prove without a shadow of a doubt that there was nothing about that game that was a fluke, and come out and kick their ass again in week number 1.
No, there's no question about it. And I think it works out so well for the Hawks because the Hawks were going to be the most gunned for team in the NFL. The Super Bowl champion is almost always the most gunned for team. And now, not only are they not the most gunned for team in the NFL, they're not the most gunned for team in their own division.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, is that you would think that the Rams are coming after the Seahawks. The Rams have a lot of motivation to beat them. Maybe one team on the list of like the top 4 or 5 teams they would play on their schedule that want to crack on the Seahawks would be the Patriots because of what happened last year in the Super Bowl. And aren't you, if you're a Patriot fan, is there a small part of you that's a little bit on edge about Drake May having to open the year again against the dark side defense? If they shut him down and make him look foolish again the way they did in that game a year ago, you might go home as a Patriot fan thinking, man, we may have a problem with this guy.
If I'm a Patriot fan, first of all, I'm super arrogant and ridiculous.
Right.
And that arrogant, ridiculous side is saying, I saw a lot of them in that Super Bowl stadium. My arrogant, ridiculous side is saying, yeah, bring them on. First game of the season. That's exactly what I want. But if you hook them all up to a lie detector test, they're like, we don't even get Drake May for a month or two to just kind of get back into his confidence level before we got to face that defense again.
Look, I mean, you're going to find out that eventually you don't. Your guy's not as good as you thought he was. By the way, FIFA is now asking me for a FIFA ID and password.
Of course they are.
To continue on the website. This is what I'm talking about. Yeah. This is a pain in the ass.
Well, what happened with the resale
This is
market?
why you should just go to VenueKings.com and get your tickets there.
I'm going through the same exact thing with the LA 2028 thing. I'm trying to get golf tickets for me and my son for the Olympics in 2028.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm going through the same rigmarole that you're going through right now.
That's 2 years away.
I know, but
I'm talking about having to buy a ticket for Monday.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, that's a totally different animal. If I'm buying tickets for something that's happening in 2 years.
Right, but I still don't want to go through 27 hoops.
Well, but you got 2 years, Dick. I'm talking about having,
Is it still
5
not
days.
a pain in the ass to go through 27 hoops?
Not if you have 2 years. No, this is totally different. This is me talking about buying seats for a game that's on Monday, right? I mean, they're asking me for a password, all that stuff. If I'm doing something 2 years ago,
You still don't want to go through the hassle.
I think I'm much more apt to do it if I've got a 2 year heads up.
Secondary market.
Okay, yeah, just go to VenueKings.com and take care of it. And by the way, if you got a problem, call me. I know the owner. All right, we're going to break. Julian Love joins next on 93.3 KJR FM.
from the Star Reynolds Sports Desk, your 93.3 KJR FM Sports Headlines.
All righty, boys and girls, here we go. Headlines on Southie Dick with Jackson on this Wednesday night, brought to you by our friends at Frost Brewed Coors Light, as cold as the Rockies.
I'm a genuine ass.
NBA Finals game number 4, Spurs up on the Knicks 22-10, mid-first quarter in the Garden in New York City. Spurs need to win to tie this thing up at 2 games apiece.
Basketball in Seattle tonight. Storm try to snap their losing streak. They host the Sparks at Climate Pledge. Tip-off at 7 on the C-Dub.
Patrick Mahomes, 2-year extension with Kansas City through 2033. That makes the value of his deal worth now over $500 million, the first time that's ever happened in the history of the NFL.
Carolina evened up the Stanley Cup Finals at 2 apiece last night with a 5-3 win. Game 5 tomorrow in Carolina right here on 93.3 KJR.
And the World Cup starts tomorrow. Jackson's going to be all fired up for 12 o'clock tomorrow. Mexico versus South Africa. I kind of like the fact the World Cup starts at noon our time and not like 3 a.m., by the way. 12 p.m. tomorrow, Mexico versus South Africa in Mexico City. USA, Paraguay, Friday from L.A. Hear that game at 6 p.m. right here on 93.3 KJR FM. And don't forget the first game here in Seattle at Seattle Stadium. Belgium, Egypt on Monday at noon. The Americans play the Australians Friday, also in Seattle, at 12 o'clock. I'm looking right now, by the way, Dick, at the list of celebrities that are at the New York Knicks San Antonio Spurs game tonight. Apparently they have a big front court, center court, big list here that you can look at if you're at the game, apparently.
Okay.
And I'm seeing all the celebrities that are there. Let's see. Timothy Chalamet, Edie Falco from The Sopranos, Tony Soprano's wife, by the way. Jimmy Fallon's there. Jerry Seinfeld's there. Charlie Ward, the former New York Knicks basketball player and Florida State quarterback. Ben Stiller. Taylor Swift is at the game tonight.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, Alex Rodriguez, Amy Schumer, Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets, is at the game. Bill Bradley, the former Nick, Earl the Pearl Monroe, Walt Frazier at the game. So, yeah, a lot of big names.
You said Chalamet's there. Is Kylie Jenner there with him?
Let me look. I do not see Kylie Jenner on the list.
She was at one of the games. I don't know if she was at the last game, though.
I don't think she was.
I don't think she was at the last game.
Let's see. I'm gonna put the
I'm asking for no reason.
No particular reason. Yeah,
right.
Sure.
Yeah.
No,
let's see who else. Aaron Judge is there, despite being hurt, by the way. Rainn Wilson, we know Rainn. He's there. Hank Azaria is there.
Oh, nice.
Let's see who else. Jameis Winston is there. Cam Scattaboo is on the list. Isaiah Likely, Whoopi Goldberg, Liam Neeson is on the list.
What?
Michael Che from the SNL. What's a Weekend Update or whatever it is?
Yeah.
He's there.
I mean, that's a Super Bowl caliber list right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, huge list. Well, I'll tell you what, one guy who's not there is Julian Love because he's in town for Seahawk minicamp, and he joined us on the radio show yesterday, and we started off the segment, by replaying for him Kevin Harlan's call of his pick against Drake May in the Super Bowl.
He's at his own 44. The New England quarterback, second down and 3 in the gun, winds up long pass down the middle. It's intercepted at the 30-yard line. Coming up the middle of the 40 with the return right here. Now it's Julian Love, and he's out of bounds on the near sideline, going into Patriot territory, and he's knocked out of bounds about the 32. It's the second turnover by the second-year Patriot quarterback, Drake May.
All right, we are back at the Virginia Mesa Athletic Center. Day 1 of Seahawk minicamp is in the books, and I wonder if our next guest has heard that call, by the way. That is the national call of your interception in Super Bowl 60 from our buddy Kevin Harlan, who is a weekly guest of ours, by the way, on the radio show, making that call on national radio. Is that the first time you've heard that call, by the way?
That is the first time I've heard that one. Man, so special. Brings you back. Exciting moment.
Well, if you want to make that the ringtone in your phone, man, just let us know. We'll take care of it for you. But Julian Love is with us on the radio show, and I got to ask you, moments like that, do you have the ball? Do you have anything from that play? Please tell me that you caught that ball and ran right to the sideline with it, gave it to a trainer, and locked it up and took it home with you.
Oh, that is under lock and key. I
there
definitely
you go.
kept the ball. I feel like I was having this conversation yesterday. is there a limit on number of stuff you like keep and like will put on the shelf or frame it? I'm getting every little thing, every name card from the week, every little thing. I'm like, man, I should probably keep this. I have no idea what I'm going to do with any of it. But yeah, I kept everything.
We were just having a debate off the air on when the Super Bowl ended in reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it that pick? I thought it was the A.J. Barner touchdown because
19-0.
Because that offense was doing nothing against you guys. So I thought as soon as we scored a touchdown, that was it. So obviously, you play to the bitter end. It's never over till it's over, all that stuff. But at what point in your mind we're like, oh, my God, we're going to be the Super Bowl champs?
Yeah, it had to be. I mean, when did the touchdown happen? Third quarter, maybe? Or was it before half?
No, it was third quarter.
It was definitely third quarter, yes.
Yeah, I would say going into half, we felt good. Like, defense, we felt good. You want a touchdown. You got to put some points on the board. Obviously, Jay Mai was kicking his butt off. But that for sure was like, okay, we have ample breathing room for defense. We're suffocating.
Yes.
That will be good. But probably a little bit before that, honestly.
Right. Yeah, the touchdown was actually early fourth quarter. I believe it was the first drive of the fourth quarter. No, I'm sorry. My fault. 10 seconds left to go in the third is when the drive started, and you guys scored to make it 19-0 early fourth. So you're right. Early fourth quarter made it 19-0. But it's funny that Dick mentioned that Drake May was doing nothing because the numbers overall in the game for him actually looked kind of okay, but they all came in garbage time, right, in the fourth quarter. And I remember, Julian, KJ Wright saying after they beat the Broncos in New York, he said, we saw the film during the week of the game, and we said, we got this. Now, he didn't say that before the game. He said it after the game, obviously. Do you remember anything similar happening to you, watching tape of Drake May and that offense that's now let the cat out of the bag, where you said to yourself before you kicked off on Sunday, we got this?
Absolutely not. I feel like, really, the whole team, I feel like it's the Patriots. They've been there a ton of times, in the organization. And so it's like, you're like, all right, we're going to over-prepare. We don't know what they're going to come out with. Their playoff games have all been kind of funky, like crazy weather. People, like, it was all kind of weird games. The rain one in Houston and then the snow one in Denver for them. And so it's like, you don't know. And so we were like, okay, we're getting a feel for it. On defense, though, I would say it was early, probably in the first, second series, where we kind of saw, we threw kind of a punch, they threw a punch, and you see kind of where you stack up to where we felt good. So it was early in the game where on defense we're like, all right, it's time to hunt, it's time to eat. But I can't lie and say that before the game started, I felt great. I was nervous as hell, just like the rest of us.
Just like us, man. One of us.
But we were prepared. I mean, we were obviously prepared.
So we found out, yesterday that you're going to get your rings pretty soon. Yeah. What's that going to be like, man? Have you heard any details on that yet?
I heard some details. I've seen some mock-ups. 2 days. We'll get them. We're excited. This is just unbelievable. Everyone is asking me what I'm going to do with it. Like, I'm going to wear it everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm going to be so nervous to just, like, bring it out in public anywhere. And then, a few of those conversations, wedding ring versus the Super Bowl ring, which is more important.
Right. Well, which one?
It's been a split. I said this. I'm married. That's not going to change if I lose this ring. And I will still be Super Bowl champ, but that ring is pretty special. I don't know what the insurance policy is if you lose a Super Bowl ring. So,
right. Did they ask for player input at all on designing that thing?
They did, yeah.
They did.
There's obviously some high-level talks going on, but I was involved in a little bit of the process, but some of the leaders were at the forefront of it.
What was your idea? What did you, like, for example, take us behind the scenes and tell us what...
He wants the number 20 on all the rings.
Much, all of them. The consensus across the board, top down, was there needs to be more diamonds. Like, and some mock-ups were like, nah, we could squeeze in some more.
Yeah.
And then just like my kind of input was like a certain thing, a certain cut of stone.
Right.
There were some options there, and I just gave my input on
Well, since we've talked to you and Julian Love is with us, we now know we're playing the Patriots again in a rematch in Week 1. Do you like that idea?
I do. I mean, I'm sure it's kind of funky. You finish the year with them, start the year with them, but I like it. I don't like those division games ever being the first game. I want to see what those guys have to offer in the year. And it's a Super Bowl team with the Patriots at home. Wednesday's kind of funky.
Yeah.
But we're excited. It's gonna be fun.
Your rivals are making a lot of news in the last month down there in Los Angeles. Some people chalk it up to, hey man, they're the team to beat now. They're the team to beat, no question about it. Guys like me, I'm more like, you kind of like broke them. You kind of like made them glitch out and freak out and do some things that they might not otherwise do. So what's the scuttlebutt in the locker room when you hear things like Myles Garrett and maybe Aaron Donald coming to L.A.?
I mean, you pay attention to it, all the division moves. You can't lie and say, I'm not seeing what's going on. But this team has kind of adopted kind of the Mike McDonald style of like, we did not care. Like, like we're kind of focused on us, and we love our team. Obviously, there's a lot of retention this year, rewarding within, building from within, and yeah, it led to good things. We have a young team, and so it's tough. I see it. Obviously, you acknowledge it. You have to know what's going on, but I mean, who cares? Like, we're going to do our thing. We're going to be us.
Right.
Every other team's going to make moves.
Well, if you're going to say it, you got to say it just like him.
We did not care.
Has anybody done a little bit of an impression of him since that came out?
Everyone.
Who's got the best one, you think, on the team?
Our string on the team?
Yeah.
I think Derek Hall has a good one.
Okay.
Spoon has a good one. Some staff members have good ones.
I got to hear that, man.
When that happened, that the following weeks, everyone was just yelling it out. Everything. He couldn't say a single thing without everyone saying, "We did not care."
How many people yell out the Ernest Jones?
F you.
Yeah.
That's one of one right there.
You mean this one right here?
I got 2 words for you.
Hey, Julian Love with us. And Julian, before you go, you got to give us a take on some of these new guys, man.
Yeah.
Another Julian Neal, right? Bud Clark, obviously. Andre Fuller. Be our eyes and ears. Be our reporter out there. What are you seeing from these young bucks in the secondary, man?
I'm so impressed with them early. I mean, you can have talent, whatever, but what makes it special is you got to have a mind to play this game, especially on defense, especially with under Mike and the rest of the staff. And so I would say, Julian's doing a great job, Dre, and Bud, man, they're meeting early. They're staying late. They're doing all the rookie stuff, which is a wave of information. But they're dialed in, man, and they're talented. So like that's the easy part, honestly. But them getting in the book, just being around each other, it's really cool to see him be around.
Yeah. Does he have a meeting to go to, by the way? You got a meeting to go to.
Team meeting,
Trust me, there's a lot of people I'm not worried about crossing at the Seahawks.
Yeah, don't
Julie
cross
is
Julie.
not one of
Yeah,
them.
no, she's fierce.
You don't want to cross her at all. You'll end up in Lake Washington.
She grabbed me by my collar and brought me in here.
Okay.
You know what she says?
We did not care.
We did not care.
All right, Julian Love from yesterday's program. You missed it. You want to hear it for a third time. I know it was really great. The guys doing the questions were awesome. 93.3 KJR.com. He is really good on the air. I love having that guy on the show. And when his career's over one day, who knows how long that will be, but he definitely has a job in media if he wants it, for sure.
Every great team needs a leader of the unit, right? You need the leader of the offense that everybody looks up to. I think Sam Darnold's become that guy.
Yep.
And Julian Love is that guy for the defense. He is like one of the few old dogs, even though he's not old. He's one of the few old dogs in comparison to the rest of that guys on that defense. And this team is so well taken care of with coaches on the field, and both Julian Love and Sam Darnold.
Well, did you hear McDonald talk today? I heard Ian play some of it coming in today.
I did not.
And he talked about how he's been on teams or been around coaches before. Like, let's say you've got an offensive line coach right here working with a lineman, or a tight end coach over here, running back coach over here. And a guy may walk over to a different position group and say, "Hey, why don't you try this?" And then the offensive line coach says, "Hey, I'll coach him. You go do the running backs." He says they don't do that. He says they coach everybody. He says if a running back coach has advice for an offensive lineman, or a tight end coach has advice for a quarterback, no problem. Right?
Great.
They're fine with all that. That if guys want to come over and coach other players and coach different spots and go to a defender and say, "Hey, I know you're playing a great offensive guy on Sunday. Here's what I would do against him." He's totally cool with that, man. So I just loved hearing that today from Mike McDonald. But, I do think, again, that it's interesting because the Seahawks started last year, Dick, as you know. Nobody thought they were going to win the championship. Their odds to win the West were like plus 550. They were plus 6,000 to win the Super Bowl. Nobody thought they would have a shot to win the title. And it kind of feels like they're still flying under the radar a little bit right now, right? Even as the defending champions, the talk is on the Rams. The talk is on the Buffalo Bills. And, can they bounce back now? And all these other teams. I had a guy walk up to me the other day and say, "Hey, man, bet the over on the Vikings. They're going to be a damn good football team because they were good 2 years ago when they had a quarterback named
now they
Sam
might have
Darnold."
a quarterback.
And if they have a quarterback, it's funny how everybody thinks Kyler Murray's good now,
You
by
know
the
why?
way. When he was in Arizona, they thought he stunk.
Well, for two reasons. One, he's not in Arizona anymore, and he's with O'Donnell. And then two,
O'Connell, right.
O'Connell,
right,
rather.
Right.
Two, he's not J.J. McCarthy.
Right.
So those are the two reasons why Kyler Murray looks so good right now.
I still think, I think Kyler Murray, if you watched him play last year, you would not see a very good quarterback. Now, he's got better talent around him, and I do think the Cardinals might be a team that might be on the come this year a little bit. But
he was pretty good with Kingsbury. Once Kingsbury left,
he
got a lot worse.
I remember a guy that just was not very good at all down the stretch for Arizona.
First half of one season, right?
Well, enough to get him
one season.
What's he making? It's enough to get him a $50-something million contract, right?
Kyler Murray?
Yeah.
What do you mean? You got a brand new deal?
With Arizona,
I mean, back in the day.
I'm saying
right.
now the best deal, right? But he's got a 1-year contract.
Right. No, I'm talking
Murray.
About
at some point.
The way I understood what you said was that Kyler Murray was never any good.
No. I think he was okay. I don't think he was a magician, but I mean, honestly, if you're using contract values to prove that guys are good or not good, there's a lot of dudes in the NFL that are way overpaid at quarterback.
Of course.
You know that.
But if Kyler Murray was truly a bum, he wouldn't have gotten a 5-year, $235 million contract. He was totally a bum.
But I also think there's a lot of guys that you think are bums that got great deals, and one of them played for the Dolphins.
Yes.
And his name is Tua Tagovailoa.
I've always thought Kyler Murray was a better quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa.
Let's not forget that, right? Just because you're making a lot of money doesn't mean that you're worth all that money. And
of course.
That's what quarterbacks do. They get paid. I mean, if you're trying to genetically engineer a baby, I mean, have him be a quarterback because he might make a lot of money for doing nothing, for God's sakes. But I mean, I'm not scared of Kyler Murray in Minnesota. I don't think Minnesota is going to be, anything that should be taken seriously as a champion. But I do think that this NFC is still like it was last year and the year before that, and the year before that. It's kind of wide open. I just think there's more teams now that feel like they can win the title, and deservedly so. And I'd put the Bears on that list too.
Oh, I would too. And I just think, it's funny. And I put this poll out a couple of times. I did it last when you were gone about who you think has a better chance to win the championship, the Mariners or the Seahawks. Well, Vegas thinks it's the Mariners. And it's not particularly close. I mean, the Mariners are now plus 700 to win. The Seahawks are like 11-1, 12-1, and yet everybody thinks it. And maybe it's just recency bias, what they just saw happen.
Right.
But they think that the Seahawks have a much better chance than the Mariners to win the championship. Vegas disagrees with them.
Well, but you're comparing apples to apples, though. How many teams are bunched up in the odds in baseball versus the NFL? Right? Aren't there a lot more teams that have similar odds to win the World Series? Because in baseball, there's a lot of teams that if they just get in, they got a shot, right? The NFL tournament seems like the cream usually rises to the top. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think there's a lot of teams. I mean, at the top, there's the Dodgers at 2, Yankees at 5.5, Seattle at 7, Braves at 8, and then nobody else till 14. So